Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 25, Text 18, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada's servants. Tasmat mat sharanam goshtham mat natam mat parigraham gopaye sva atma yogena saha ayam me vrataha ahitaha tasman matcharanang goshtham mannatam matparigraham gopaye svatma yogena soyang me vrata ahitaha tasman matcharanang goshtham mannatam matparigraham gopaye svatma yogena soyang me vrata ahitaha. Ladies, please. Tasmat, therefore, mat sharanam, having taken shelter of me, goshtam, the cowherd community, mat natam, who have me as their master, mat parigraham, my own family, gopaye, I shall protect, sva atma yogena, by my personal mystic power, saha, I am this, me, by me, rataha, vow, ahitaha, has been taken. I, Krishna speaking here, I must therefore protect the cowherd community by my transcendental potency, for I am their shelter, I am their master, and indeed they are my own family. After all, I have taken a vow to protect my devotees. Purport. The word Matcharanam indicates not only that Lord Krishna was the sole shelter for the Vrajajana, the people of Vrindavan, but also that Lord Krishna had established his home among them. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes from the Anekartha Varga dictionary, Sharanam Griha Rakshitroho. The word Sharanam can represent either home or protector. The residents of Vrindavan adopted Krishna as their beloved child, friend, lover, and life itself, and the Lord reciprocated their feelings. Thus, Sri Krishna lived among these fortunate people, moving in their houses and fields. Naturally, he would protect such intimate devotees from all types of danger. Om Ajnana Timirantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Shreshtham Manamapi Shachiputra Matra Swarupam Rupam Tasya Grajam Urupurim Maturim Goshtavartim Radha Kundam Girivaramaho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tamnatosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Ataf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Scha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This verse is from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. The subject of this chapter is Krishna lifts Govardhan hill, which at the present point in this narration, Krishna has not done. He's just thinking about it. He also thinks, Parasya Shakti Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhavaki Jnana Balakriyacha. Without Krishna's even thinking about it, everything goes on. He has his potencies by which everything goes on. But in the matter of his devotees, he takes personal interest. So he's thinking how to protect his devotees. When Krishna does something, he generally executes several functions at once. He also has to think of Indra, because Indra is also his devotee. He's not on the level of the Brijbasis, but he's also a devotee. We find in the Nectar of Devotion that Krishna, he thought that this Indra is causing so much trouble, maybe I should just kill him. And he thought, why should I bother? He's so insignificant. But for him, the residents of Vrindavan, they were significant. Indra comes to Krishna, offers prayers. Brahma comes and offers prayers to Krishna. And afterwards, the cowherd boys, they mimic Indra and Brahma. Oh, there was this funny guy with 4 heads, and there was another funny guy with eyes all over his body. Oh, Krishna, oh. And they're imitating and laughing. They think it's all a big joke. But there was a situation whereby Krishna had to protect his devotees directly. There's no question of him delegating the job to someone else. He's right there, his devotees are right there, the rain is falling, not just like rain, devastating rain, pillars of rain. And he thinks, yep, it's time to be God again. Can't be a cowherd boy all the time. Sometimes I've got to be God also. This Indra comes and interferes, and I've got to show a little of my potency. Of course, while lifting the hill, he, to Mother Yashoda and all the residents of Vrindavan, he remained who he was. They didn't see him as God. Afterwards, they started to think a little bit. He did so many things, killing all these demons, and lifting the hill. Maybe he's a demigod. But at the time, they thought, well, yeah, Krishna's holding the hill. I guess any one of us could do it also, because we fight with Krishna. Sometimes we defeat him, the cowherd boys are thinking, so if he can hold it, we can hold it. And Krishna, you've been holding up that hill for such a long time. Your arm must be tired. Let us, with our staffs, hold up the hill. So they tried for a little time, and then Govardhan started wobbling. I want Krishna. I want Krishna to hold me up. So he started wobbling, and then Krishna held it again. So we're very grateful to Indra for being such, well, we shouldn't say, but the Shastra says he was very proud and misbehaved. So I won't say, but we can quote Vyasadeva. We're very grateful to him for having been the instrument in arranging for this pastime of Krishna, in which Krishna directly shows that he gives his protection to his devotees. So this is both him being God and being the darling beloved of his devotees. The two functions, they come together when he has to protect them from the disturbances of Indra. Then there comes a point when the two functions, they intersect. Of course, for Krishna to hold up a hill, it may seem unbelievable to, well, it does seem unbelievable to strict rationalists and logicians. For any human to hold a hill sounds impossible, but if we consider that Krishna holds up multiple universes and doesn't even feel any strain, then it should be clear that he can do whatever he likes. And what he does, what his main function is in this world, he mentions here his vrata, his vow he has taken to protect his devotees. And the same word comes, we'll find in a famous verse from Ramayana, when Vibhishana comes seeking shelter of Lord Rama, and Lord Rama's associates, monkeys, they are very doubtful. He is, after all, a Rakshasa, so we can't trust him. But Lord Rama, he said, well, what shall I do? It's my vow to protect. Sakrideva prapando yash tavasmiti tayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamye tadvratang mama. It's my always vow, it's my eternal vow, that anyone who comes to me, who surrenders to me, who requests protection from me, I will award them fearlessness. Abhayam, I give fearlessness. Now, Krishna can give shelter. He can give fearlessness. Sharanam Sharanyam. We should take shelter of Krishna because he can actually give us protection. No one else can actually protect us. As Prahlad says to Nrsimhadev. What is that verse? The boat can't protect the... Balasya neha sharanam pitaro Nrsimha. The child cannot be protected by the parents, although the parents are very attentive to protect the child, but they can't actually protect the child. Balasya neya sharanang pitaro nrsimha nartasya chagadam udanvati majjato. No, we may be on a very good boat in the middle of the ocean, but the boat ultimately cannot protect us. Titanic. Srimad Bhagavatam predicts Titanic, and there may have been so many others before that also. Then, what's the next line? Taptasya tat pratividhya ehasanja saitas. You got it, thank you. All glories to modern technology. Balas tavad vibho tanubritang tvad upekshitanam. He doesn't, if they're not surrendered to Krishna, they don't actually get protection. In this regard, there's an anecdote which I've several times, I mentioned many times, really struck me. Just sitting on a plane going somewhere. It was between Bangladesh and Burma. I was going on a plane in the rainy season, and traveling on planes in that season can be very dangerous because big storms come up. I was traveling, and next to me there was a man with his wife from England. I was talking to them. All of a sudden, the plane starts going like this and up and down, and then the wife, she catches the hand of her husband, and he assuringly pats her. He can assuringly pat her as much as he likes, but if the plane's going to crash, there's nothing he can do about it. Krishna can protect. This is his vow to protect. This matter of protection is taken as the most important relationship of the devotee with the most important way in which the Lord reciprocates with his devotees, taken as the most important point in at least two Vaishnava Sampradayas. The Ramanuja Sampradaya, they have three what they call charam shlokas, or topmost verses. One is Sarvadhaman parityaja mamekam sharanam raja ahang tva sarva papebhyo moksha yashami masucha. Sharanam, if you take shelter in me, Krishna says, I will deliver you from all sinful reactions, do not fear, do not worry. He can do it. Others may not be able to do it, but he can do it. If we go to the temple of Varadaraj in South India, a very famous temple that was also visited by Balaram, we'll find here in the 10th canto. His hand is there giving blessing, and on his hand it's written in Tamil script, Ma Shuchaha, don't fear, don't worry. This is Varada Raj. Varada means who gives benedictions, and Varada Raj means the best, or the king of those who gives benedictions. So the best benediction possible is to be freed from all sinful reactions and liberated from material existence, and Krishna is the one who can give that benediction. The other verse, out of those 3 verses, which the Ramanuja Sampradaya considers topmost, is this Sakrideva Prapannoyas, which I just read, although generally in the South India they recite it a little bit differently. The words are a little bit different, but the purport is the same, that if one surrenders to me once only, if one requests shelter from me once only, Lord Ram says, I will forever give him protection. This is my vow. And the 3rd verse is from the Varaha Purana, which I don't even half know. I never learned that one. But in the Vallabh Sampradaya, their motto, just like we have our motto, Hare Krishna. So like their motto is Shri Krishna Sharanam Vrat Mama. Krishna is my shelter. So this is stressed so much that Krishna will protect his devotees. For unconditional devotees, there's unconditional protection. Otherwise, yayatamang prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajami aham. We can't think that just I will put on tilak and Krishna will protect me from everything. In this world, there are rules for protection, even physically. If we go in a car, we're supposed to put on a seat belt and not drive too fast, and the car should be checked from time to time to see that it's functioning properly. And one should know the rules of the road and follow. And there are so many rules to protect, because it's very dangerous going in a car. We don't think of it like that. If we're cruising along, it may seem we're just going, it's all very smooth and nice and the road is nice, but it's actually very dangerous to go at even 20, if you're going at 20 kilometers per hour, it seems it's not very dangerous. If you're going 20 kilometers per hour on a horse, you'd feel it's very fast. And it is dangerous because there are thousands of people killed daily in road accidents. So there are rules to be followed also. In devotional service, there are rules to be followed. These rules help to protect us. The rules are not for no reason. The rules are to, on the one hand, they are to protect us from falling into material consciousness, and on the other hand, they are to help bring out our Krishna consciousness. So there's vidhi, which should be done, and nishedh, that which is not to be done. So for instance, there's a rule, one should take only Krishna prasad, one shouldn't eat anything else. And there's a concomitant rule, one should not eat anything which is not Krishna prasad. Of course, for a pure devotee, they see everything as the mercy of Krishna, but for those who are aspiring devotees, they will be affected. One thing by the consciousness of the non-devotees in the food that is given by them or cooked by them, and also by the attitude of, here is something for me to enjoy separately from Krishna. It should be given to Krishna first, then I can be the sub-enjoyer. So Krishna gives his protection, but we have to know how to take the protection. We have to take shelter, means we have to come underneath. We have to accept the guidance and the rules of those who are given shelter. And then the person, at least in material existence, protection is, someone may be competent to protect, but they can only protect if those who are supposed to be protected do their bit also. They have to cooperate with those who are giving protection. So you may be in a very safe car. We used to hear that, I think you told me that, Volvo is a very safe car. You wouldn't remember that, there's so many. Volvo is a very safe car. But you have to put on the seat belt. You have to watch the road when you're driving. However safe the car is, if you don't follow the directions, you're going to be in a dangerous situation. So of course Krishna can protect anyone, anywhere, in any situation, but he gives rules which are like an armor. They're armor for protection, to help us or to invoke the protection of Krishna. We have to do our bit also. It's not that we take initiation and we sit back and everything okay. Actually, that comes in the Ramanuja Sampradaya. There's a whole division in the Sampradaya between those who take this verse, Sakrid eva prapanno yash. If one submits, if one only once takes shelter of me, Lord Rama says, I will always protect him. So one branch of the Ramanuja Sampradaya says, well, you only have to surrender once and you don't have to do anything else, and then you're looked after. And there's another says, no, you have to do your bit also. And so there's a whole theological division on taking the words of the Lord absolutely literally or understanding them in a certain way, and others who will bring in other considerations also. For instance, Sakrideva Prapanna. What does it mean to be a prapanna, to be one who is fully surrendered? And does this verse negate the yeyata mang prapadyante, the reciprocation of the Lord? So many considerations have to be there. It's not that we should test the mercy of the Lord. I'll drink, I'll smoke, I'll do everything which is forbidden, and still I surrendered once, didn't I? So he will look after me. Yeah, okay. He'll look after me. But is that real surrender? If we think, then it becomes nam no balad yasya hi papa buddhi. Papa buddhi, it becomes a sinful consciousness. If we think that on the strength of the holy name, I will be delivered from all sinful reactions, therefore I'll perform sinful activities. So many considerations in Krishna's shelter. If we want to be fully sheltered, we should come to Vrindavan, chant the holy names. What could be more sheltered than that? Stay in the association of devotees. Very sheltered situation. Sheltered from all kinds of disturbances except our own mind. We may come to Vrindavan and follow everything very nicely, but still the mind, our own contaminations, they may rise up within us. Therefore, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he condemns as a kind of cheating process the idea that I shall simply sit and chant in a lonely place. He condemns it for those who are not fit for it. He doesn't condemn it outright. He gives a whole poem saying how this is simply for personal prestige, and you shouldn't be interested in prestige. And at the end, Kirtan prabhabe smarana hoibe shekale nirjana sambhav. One who performs kirtan, by the strength of that kirtan, then one will remember Krishna. And at that time it is possible to be alone. In our ISKCON, we remember especially that great devotee who went nirjal, no association. Srila Prabhupada. He left Vrindavan. He went against the rules. No association. Not only that, he was on the boat with meat eaters. Indians, Hindus, probably most of them, but maybe Captain Pandey as a Brahmana wasn't, but we can't expect. Because at that time, mostly people that follow their caste. So the people who go to sea would be the same caste. Just like we have cleaning up everywhere. Still, the Bungi caste do it here. They don't need a reservation for that. They do the cleaning. So Srila Prabhupada went with non-devotees, he went among non-devotees, he left behind Vrindavan. He went alone. He was confident of Krishna's protection. How many of us could do that? We might think, yeah, I could do it, but who could do it, actually? It was so unexpected that even when he came back to India with Western disciples, even then many people, including many of his godbrothers, didn't believe he'd actually done it. He thought, well, they're just tourists or they're hippies and it won't last. They saw physically with their eyes that Western people are chanting Hare Krishna. And some of them just didn't believe it. They thought, well, it's not real, it's just a fashion that they're doing. Now, they have to believe it. But at that time, it seemed impossible, and it seemed like a very foolish thing to do. To leave Vrindavan in your old age in bad health. Old man, you will die. Have you seen that on the Your Ever Well-Wisher, the video? That Sumati Moraji tells, she recalls telling Prabhupada that he comes to her and somehow by sheer determination he got an interview with her. Yeah, so many beggars, sadhus come and you can't go and see the head of a big corporation, just some beggar. It just looks like. But somehow he got to see her. And then, of course, she knew him somewhat already. But she told him, old man, you will die. And actually, he almost did die. On the ship, he was in the rolling over the Atlantic Ocean. And then Krishna came in a dream to Srila Prabhupada, rowing the boat, all his avatars, Matsya Kurma, Varaha, Narasimha, they all came to protect the devotees, and they're all there. We're here to protect you. So Srila Prabhupada came, and there he was among people who were so crazy, well, especially when he went to New York. He was among people who were so crazy that it would be difficult for people in India even now to imagine how crazy they are. What to speak of at that time. Even the ordinary behavior of what you might call more civilized Americans appear to be very uncivilized. As Srila Prabhupada wrote in a letter when he was in America, he's newly in America, he wrote in a letter to a devotee in India that the people here, after passing, they wipe themselves with paper. They don't take a bath. I mean, that to Prabhupada was, that's just what everyone, I mean, that's a very civilized thing to do, isn't it? You don't just pull up your pants, you clean it first with a little paper, and it's very, very clean. And he was astonished by that. And what to speak of going among people on LSD and imagining themselves to be self-realized. See, you all don't know what LSD is even. Some of us here do. There's some memories of that. But nowadays they have more advanced drugs. Maybe some of you know about that. But there's just complete madness. Prabhupada went among all those people and he just felt, I am never alone. He wrote in a letter to Trivikram Maharaj, who was going out in Hong Kong or Korea or somewhere. Even now is quite difficult to preach in those places. And Trivikram Maharaj had written, I can't go alone. And Prabhupada said, you're a sannyasi, you're not alone. Just like I went to the West, my Guru Maharaj, I never felt I was alone. He said, I always felt my Guru Maharaj was with me. So he always felt the protection of Krishna. He never felt, I am alone. Who could have done that? It's not the work of any ordinary devotee to do that. And then Krishna empowered him to find the ways and means to bring people in, bringing them in, gradually bringing them up. Complete faith in the holy names, and what he stressed even more than the chanting of the holy names as his strategy for preaching Krishna consciousness in America, Markine Bhagavat Dharma. What he emphasized in that poem was that if people regularly hear the Bhagavatam, then Nashta Prayeshva Bhadreshu. If they regularly hear the Bhagavatam, they will be purified. Srila Prabhupada had the faith that even these people, they're so crazy. Srila Prabhupada had the idea, we can understand from his early purports. He had the idea he would present this philosophy of Krishna consciousness to the more intellectual and cultured section of American society. He writes in that Tadvag Visargo, in that verse, purport, long purport, it's aimed at the leaders. If only the leaders of society would donate 50% of their wealth, because the ordinary people are playthings in the hands of the leaders. Krishna had another plan. He sent Prabhupada, or among where do all the homeless and nowhere to go, no friends, no money, all the indigent people. So Prabhupada was the same. He had no money, he had no friends, no contacts, nothing, no hope. And he had to go among those people. But he had hope. That was the difference. He had Krishna. He went among those people. And it was very dangerous. When he went there, he was warned, even by some of the young people who were in contact with him. He was warned it's a very dangerous place to go. And Prabhupada, he didn't feel like that. He felt, I'm protected. For Srila Prabhupada, we can, as Vyasadeva is describing the psychology of Krishna here, what Krishna is thinking, we can understand that for Srila Prabhupada, he didn't think, I'm protected by Krishna, in the sense that we may make a philosophical understanding in our mind. Yeah, I can do it because Krishna will protect me. It's more like the protection of a child, a baby, with the mother. They don't make any logical consideration that my mother is protecting me, but it's just a fact of, it's just there, it's that, it's what they are. So in the same way, the pure devotees, they don't have to think about Krishna's protection. They just presume, or nothing, there's no mental process about it. It's just an established fact. And they write about it and talk about it to tell others to come into that shelter. But for themselves, there's no such consideration because they're fully confident in Krishna's protection. You may say, well, where's the protection? We see so many pure devotees here in Bhagavatam who their stories are, well, especially in the beginning, we have the Pandavas, how it appeared that Krishna wasn't protecting them. They had to go through so many difficulties. Even Bhishma, after the battle was over and Yudhishthira was on the throne again, and Bhishma was saying, it's quite surprising that Yudhishthira, he's so pious, and all his brothers are very pious, and we expect that pious people should be protected by God, and what to speak that God is their own personal friend. He's not sitting on a cloud somewhere, he's right there among them. And still they had to go through so many difficulties, so many tribulations. And Bhishma's conclusion is that the plan of the Lord is inscrutable. Why they had to go through much suffering, we don't know. But one thing we can understand, that we may have to go through that also. The purity we see, Ambarish Maharaj, so many devotees, they had to go through so much suffering. Here we're in the 10th canto, it's all laughing and singing and dancing and playing, and then Krishna leaves, and then that doesn't seem like the same kind of suffering that Yudhishthira and Ambarish and Prahlad had to go through. But as we learn about, there was much more intense suffering because their love is so intense. Why does Krishna put his pure devotees? Well, if they hadn't done that, who would understand who they are, pure devotees? Their character is tested in tribulations. That's even non-devotees, they'll understand that they'll give some little motto that the real test is in difficulties. So we wouldn't have known how great Prahlad was, how great Yudhishthira was, that their faith in Krishna never swayed even slightly. They thought, well, whatever happens, Aslishava padaritam pinashtumam adarshanan marmahatam karotuva. This attitude is exemplified by Lord Chaitanya speaking in the mood of Srimati Radharani, yata tata va vidathatu lampato mat prananatas tusa evanaparaha. If you embrace me, if you trample me underfoot, even if you go to some other rival, whatever you do, in all circumstances, simply you are my Lord, that's all. So this is for us to learn and imbibe. We have to take fully shelter of Krishna. If we are holding on to anything material, then we can't expect Krishna's full protection. Draupadi is the famous example. As long as she was holding on to her cloth, then she was in trouble because Dushasana was so much stronger than her. But when she gave up all hope of self-protection and simply threw up her hands and said, Govinda! And then Govinda manifested as unlimited cloth. And Dushasana was frustrated. So we hear about these things, and it's very nice to hear about it, and it gives us encouragement. We all have to face our tests. It's not going to be easy, that's for sure. The way to Krishna is not easy. Is that right? Is that right? No, I thought it was very easy. All you have to do is chant Hare Krishna. Right? All you have to do is chant Hare Krishna, right? That's all you have to do. Chant Hare Krishna, follow 4 regulated principles, and Krishna will look after you. Yeah, that's true. But there may be some tests along the way also. Very likely. If we're going to go on chanting Hare Krishna. Just like Srila Prabhupada told us about one parrot who was trained to chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. But when the cat comes, Prabhupada says, the parrot goes, ah, 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 ah. So we may be trained to chant Hare Krishna. But when the test comes, what are we going to do? A story I heard, one of my godbrothers long ago, driving early morning in Delhi. This was in the 1970s. When Delhi's roads were all potholed and there was no lighting on the road. They were driving along and in a taxi. And all of a sudden, they see coming the other way with no lights. There's a truck coming the other way. Coming right at them. And he didn't see the truck till the last minute. And they're just about to hit it head on. And then this devotee, whose name I won't say, he called out, Jesus, Mary, Joseph! American Catholic background. And then the car just swerved and went on. And they were driving along, bump, bump, bump. And after a little time he said, I didn't say that for years. Deep in his consciousness. At least he called out for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. He didn't chant Hare Krishna, but he called out for Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. So, deeply taking shelter of Krishna. No other recourse than Krishna. How can we develop that? One way that Srila Prabhupada did that, or inculcated that in his disciples, and also spread Krishna consciousness very widely, was by sending them to different countries to preach. You go to Japan to preach. Japan, where's that? Don't know the language, don't know the culture, no one knows anything about it. You go here, you go there, you go here and there. Or go out with Prabhupada's books, distribute the books. Often devotees, they would be arrested, sometimes beaten. It was fairly common in the airports in America in the 1970s that devotees would get beaten for distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. I remember hearing in the 1970s about Pragosh Prabhu, our godbrother Pragosh, that one time he was distributing in the airport and someone just came up to him, bam, punched him in the face. He fell down on the ground, picked up his glasses, picked up his books, and went on distributing books. Get a lot of mercy doing that, right? A lot of mercy. Did you ever get a lot of mercy in your life? Prabhu Vishnu Maharaj. I always say Maharaj. Going to Bangladesh, Nepal, Malaysia. A lot of mercy. Prabhupada gave you his mercy every time, right? When you asked for blessings to go to Nepal, he gave you a garland When you ask for his blessings, go to Bangladesh, he gave you a garland. And then Malaysia, Prabhupada had passed away, he came to the Samadhi, and you asked for blessings, and the Pujari came out, gave you a garland. There's a lot of mercy in preaching. Going out among the non-devotees, those who have no interest in Krishna, not even heard of Krishna. Krishna gives all protection. You may say, how did he protect Pragosh? When the man punched him, he protected him by giving him the good intelligence to stand up and go on distributing those books. That is the protection. It's not necessarily bodily protection, but the protection to remain always in Krishna consciousness. So now, everyone's here very happily in Kartik, chanting Hare Krishna. In Vrindavan, although I've lived most of this life in India, but I don't visit Vrindavan much. You may think, why? Well, of course there are different instructions of Srila Prabhupada, but in one place he wrote that Vrindavan is for inspiration only, but our real work is all over the world. So there's a lot of work to do all over the world. And the December marathon of book distribution is coming up. And there is a revolution going on in book distribution all over the world. We used to distribute, well, devotees started off distributing in San Francisco in the 1960s, Back to Godhead magazines for 25 cents. And then then there was a big jump to distributing big books. And generally devotees, they go out and they distribute books, which means one book, another book, another book, another book. But there's something else coming up now. Why distribute only one book at a time, when you can distribute 3 or 7 or a whole set of Bhagavatams all at once? I was just thinking of some of Krishna's material arrangement to help facilitate this. It's called the credit card. Very expertly made by the demons to make you spend money. Because if you have to take out money from your wallet or purse, you see it and you see it belongs to me and I'm giving it to someone else and I don't want to give it to someone else, especially not for what's this? I can't even read the title of the book. The first book I saw of Srila Prabhupada said K, then there was a R with a dot underneath it, and then an S with a dot underneath it, and N with it. I go, what's that? What language is this? They don't want to give you money. But the great brilliance of the demons is they made this credit card where you don't even feel you're giving any money, especially when you can overdraw and make it up later. And people are in the habit, and you can just swipe $300. One Bhagavatam said. It's a great facility for distributing books. So, we're all happy here. People all over the world are not happy. They're forgetting Krishna. There's great facility here to remember Krishna in Vrindavan, especially during Kartik. And we can remember Srila Prabhupada leaving Vrindavan and sending his disciples out all over the world and make this the biggest marathon ever. We should do that, right? Make it the biggest marathon ever. Now there's a way. Distribute so many books. Distribute sets of books. Krishna will protect. Krishna will protect. When we're out there distributing the books among people, what they're going to do, what they're going to say. Actually, because there has been so much distribution of books all over the world, the situation is much better now than it used to be. Devotees getting punched out for distributing books. At least in America, we don't hear about it anymore. It used to be a common thing. But we don't hear about it anymore. The situation is much better. And you can go out even in devotee dress and distribute books, and that may be an advantage rather than a disadvantage. Things have changed. Krishna has his plan. So let's go out with remembering that Krishna will protect his devotees, and his devotee, Srila Prabhupada, wants these books distributed. Krishna wants these books distributed. And if we try to please his devotee by distributing these books, then Krishna will surely protect us and bring us to him. And Hare Krishna, time's up. All glories to his divine grace, Srila Prabhupada, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada's Srimad Bhagavatam set distribution ki jai. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha. Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.